Hey, Phil.
Hello.
Mr. Whiskey Preacher.
That would be moi. Bringing sexy back to Missional. Mm-mm.
I didn't even have to ask you to deliver the new tagline. You just, bam.
I know.
Right there with it, on point.
I know. I was in the shower this morning and I was thinking, what should I say today on this interview? Oh, I'm bringing sexy back to Missional.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's really not fair to interview people that you consider like really good friends, because it's not really much of an interview. It's just like
a conversation.
Yeah, it's just like getting to hang out and talk to one of my favorite people in the universe.
Aw. Is it because I'm bringing sexy back to Missional?
That's part of it. That is really that's really what this whole thing is about. How can I help me bring, how can I be more sexy and missional, and how can other people be more sexy and missional?
It has to do with having a bald head, goatee, cool glasses, and a few tattoos.
See,
and if you light a few candles in your worship gathering, sexy back.
That's all part. See, I'm working on the bald thing. If I turn around, you could see I'm working on the bald part. I don't have any tattoos yet, though.
Hang on. I'm trying to imagine you. Hang on. Without any hair. Okay. People are like, what the hell are they talking about?
So for the few people in the universe who don't already know who you are, Phil Shepard from the Ucatastrophe in Fort Worth, Texas, on the leadership team for Transform Network, and you're bringing sexy back to Missional.
I'm doing what I can.
And you're the Whiskey Preacher, and you do these amazing vidcasts. I've been loving your vidcasts.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I enjoy doing them. Per your request, my next vidcast will be part 2 of Adult Butt Wipes Are From Jesus. And it's going to be called Blessed Are the Butt Wipes, but it's going to be a vidcast. However, I'm working on a writing project right now that I'm very behind on. So as a reward to myself...
Very behind?
Very behind, yeah. You like that? I'm going to then film the Blessed Are the Butt Wipes, hopefully this weekend.
That's amazing. So, I mean, you don't have to. I hesitate to even ask this. I don't want to violate your privacy. You've been having some health issues.
Yes, I have.
Which relates to the whole adult butt wipe.
Oh, thanks for throwing me under the bus there, Steve.
Well, yeah. I'm just trying to make the connection for people.
I've been spending a lot of time with the butt wipes for a while. Yes.
So.
I'm on 1,000 milligrams of antibiotics right now, and I just had some complications from a surgery I had back in November, and everything's going to be fine. It's just taking a while to heal, and they say I should be good to go by beginning of summer. So it'll only take 8 months out of my life.
Man. So how long have you been in Fort Worth? How long has the Ucatastrophe been going?
We started the Ucatastrophe. I'm one of the co-founding pastors and communal architects. My lovely wife, Stephanie, who you've known a heck of a lot longer than I have, which still sounds kind of weird. But we started the Uke. We call it the Uke for short, because a lot of times people are like, well, how do you say that word? It's just easier to say Uke than Ucatastrophe.
Yeah.
But in the fall of 2007, we moved here from Minneapolis. We were part of the Solomon's Porch community up there. We did not move to Minneapolis to be a part of that community, though we were there to help some friends of ours, one in particular, go through a bad divorce. And as soon as that was over, we moved here to Fort Worth. I did my master's degree at Baylor, and I'm originally from Alaska, and I moved to Texas, I guess, 10, 12 years ago, and fell in love with it. And we said, when we got the chance, all roads lead back to Texas. And here we are. We started in Fort Worth. It came down between Fort Worth and San Antonio. San Antonio is a great place. But we fell in love with Fort Worth. And by the way, just for clarification, Fort Worth is not Dallas. We have a saying in Fort Worth that life is too short to live in Dallas. If I wanted to live in LA, I would go to California, not drive 30 miles east and end up in LA. And the weather is a hell of a lot nicer in California than it is here. So just for that clarification.
Well, and there's it's also, again, for people who aren't as familiar with Fort Worth, and I certainly wasn't, although I've had the awesome opportunity to come hang out with you now and experience Fort Worth for myself. But, like, the Uke meets in this place in Fort Worth known as Hell's Half Acre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is that about?
Hell's Half Acre. So Fort Worth, let me back up. Fort Worth is still a glorified cow town. The city's tagline, if you will, on all their brochures is where cowboy meets culture. We have the largest modern art museum in the world, including New York. We have a very deep art culture here because essentially one of the wealthy cowtown entrepreneurs, his wife is a huge art fan, and they have pumped literally millions of dollars into the arts here in Fort Worth. Hell's Half Acre. So when we first started the Uke, we started in our loft. We had $900 to start this thing, not $1,000, but $900. We had no intention ever to be a house church. There's nothing wrong with that. That was just never our intention. And so the first year and a half the Uke we met in our loft, and you can only cram so many people into the loft. So when Steph and I got ready to move out of our loft, it was just a natural transition to move the Uke as well. And one of the places that we always dreamed about moving it to and creating a relationship was First Christian Church in downtown Fort Worth. First Christian Church is the oldest church in Fort Worth. It started in 1855. It's been on the property that they are on now since 1873, and the building that they've been on are in and that we lease from and meet in as well has been there since 1914 is when they moved in.
Wow.
But Hell's Half Acre is what they called the strip of land that led to the stockyards. It was the last place on the cow trail that the cowboys could have their fun. They could gamble, they could go to see prostitutes, they could drink, because a cattle drive would take sometimes months. And so it was their last go at civilization, I should say. So it was a place, seriously full of debauchery. And that's why I kind of like it, honestly. But so this church was in the middle of all of that. That was the only place that was not a brothel, a saloon, or some type of gambling establishment.
Right. Wow. That is
they nicknamed it Hell's Half Acre.
Yeah. That is quite a history. It's really, really fascinating. So, that's all part of your context. That's all part of the context that the Uke is a part of. And I guess to throw one other interesting factoid out there, I know that you guys at the Uke have been very engaged in the anti-sex trafficking work in Fort Worth and doing some cool stuff with the Stop the Traffic. Is it called Stop the Traffic?
Actually, no, Stop the Traffic is an organization, but we created a benefit concert called Traffic Jam.
Traffic Jam, yes.
This will be the third annual Traffic Jam, and that came out of a conversation. I wasn't even there when they had this conversation, but we had a guest speaker one night come to the Uke and talk about human trafficking. Steph and I had got involved in the modern day abolition movement when we were at Solomon's Porch in Minneapolis, and when we started the Uke, it was just a natural extension of who we are. And so we started digging around and trying to find out what was the human trafficking sex trafficking. What did that look like here in Texas? And we quickly found out that Texas is responsible for 20% of the world's, not the United States, but the world's human trafficking. So depending on what statistics you look at, it's still kind of gray, but they roughly figure that 28 million people are in slavery right now. So what is that? Almost 4 million, 5 million people that Texas is responsible for.
Wow.
Into slavery. And so we were passionate about how to figure out to expose that. How can we as a community, what could we do in our context? And a lot of people don't realize that, when people look at me, they think a certain kind of people go to the Uke. They think we're all tattooed and have gauged ears, and actually they look a lot more like you than they do me. And we have, a variety of different folks that come, all the way from doctors to the struggling musician who's 1 gig away from being on the street. But one thing that we all have in common besides this community, the Uke, is the love of music. And we have a lot of musicians that go to the Uke. And so when that guest speaker was here talking about human trafficking, this idea was birthed out of, this is something we can do. This is something that we can help expose this human trafficking that's happening specifically here in Fort Worth, and to help raise monies for safe houses in the DFW area. And when we started, there was really only one safe house in all the entire Metroplex. And we've recently got information that they're trying to build a new one here in Fort Worth, which we're really excited about.
Cool.
So we started 3 years ago, Traffic Jam, and we had something like 10, 15 bands, and it was 12 straight hours of music and education on human trafficking. And we charged a cover charge, and all that money went back to Mosaic Family Services, is the place that provides the safe house in the Metroplex right now. And we've been giving them money to do that. Cool. And just to help bring awareness to that.
Yeah.
And before I go on, I wanted to add this part. Fort Worth is very unique in the fact that the human trafficking problem here is very different than even Dallas. Dallas has a huge international human trafficking problem. And here in Fort Worth, from the conversations I've had with the police department here, that up to like 95% of the human trafficking that's happening here in Fort Worth is all domestic.
Mm-hmm. No.
So these kids are, and it's predominantly, human trafficking just doesn't have to do with sexual exploitation. There's various different forms, but here in Fort Worth specifically, it is mostly sexual exploitation. And the average kid that is taken off the streets and put into a brothel here in Fort Worth is between the ages of 9 and 14.
Wow. And
I mean, I don't know about you, but that chaps my ass, and that really makes me mad.
Right. Yeah, I have an 11-year-old daughter, so that really hits home. So the anti-human trafficking work is an important social justice action that the Uke is involved with, but Missional is bigger than that, wouldn't you say? Or how would you describe Missional or explain Missional to?
Missional, I would say, is more of a posture, and social justice comes out of that posture. I did a vidcast interview for Two Fires and a Fool last year, and the vidcast that I recorded was the posture of clay, and this idea of being moldable and living into the Great Commission, loving the Creator and loving the creation. And I really think that social justice is just an aspect of living into that posture, living into the Great Commandment.
Cool. So one of the things I'm really excited about, besides all of the
Bringing back sex to Missional.
Besides bringing the sexy back to Missional, and all of the other cool ways that we get to collaborate, we're both in the Disciples of Christ, so rah rah, DOC.
Yeah.
But we're also getting to collaborate on this upcoming missional retreat called the River Gathering, April 23 to 25 in Albuquerque at Tamaya Resort. And this idea of a missional retreat seems like it's really timely. I'm having more and more conversations. I've actually been, I was at another retreat a few weeks ago, and just saw the fruit of what an amazing experience that was, and I'm excited to kind of take some of the learnings from that and bring it to this thing next month. And I'm talking to other people who are excited and interested in this idea. Pastors who are busy and who are tired, but they're excited about this idea of becoming missional and being missional and helping move their faith communities towards being missional. And I don't know, just what I'm excited about it. We've kind of landed on these three ideas of rest, reflection, and dialogue. And I don't know what. There's still opportunity for people to come and participate and be a part of this river gathering. What do you want to say about it?
I'm super excited about this as well. When I was first approached to think about doing something like this, and originally we were just going to open it to just disciples ministers, but it's become a bigger thing than that, a bigger idea, I should say, that our ministers all around us are tired, and they are longing for some type of thing to be able to reignite their imagination, to be honest, and find out more about what this missional emergent, like I said, whatever title you want to put on it, this other way of not only doing church but theology. I mean, I think that's a big misnomer of when people hear missional church, they think of a growth program or a way to get Gen Xers or Gen Y, and it's not that. It's a completely, in my opinion, which I respect, by the way, that it's a more holistic approach of doing ministry. Mm-hmm. And I am super excited to help co-lead this retreat with you. That I'm hoping, and my hope and prayer is at the end of the river gathering, people will leave rejuvenated and have hope for their ministry and have their, like I said, imagination reignited about something new.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about it as an opportunity for it to have that dialogue, not have it be like a typical conference, lots of information and lots of head stuff, but really heart opening space to ask a lot of questions and explore ideas in conversation, and just kind of dream a little bit and ask self-awakening questions and kind of figure out who we are and who we are, who our communities are, that the context, and thinking about these things, exploring them together. And I think great friendships and relationships are going to be strengthened through this. And I'm just really looking forward to it. I think it's an idea whose time has come.
Yeah. And outside of it being gorgeous there, I mean, it's breathtaking at Tamaya. I'm real excited about the theology pub that we're going to do. I think it's the first night that we're there. Steve and I are going to do a choose your own adventure theology pub. We're going to present 4 or 5 questions, and people can vote on what they want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I like that idea of them being able to kind of steer the boat where they want this to go to. Obviously, we're there to help facilitate this and to lead this retreat, but it's also about what are they interested in and what are their needs. And I think that makes it a very unique gathering of sorts that we haven't seen yet.
So I'll be sure to put a link somewhere along with this video so people
Maybe
can find out
here,
more.
up there, over there, or over there. I don't know.
All right.
I'm sorry. That was awkward.
Oh, tempted to make an adult butt wipe joke just then, but I will.
I may have over-trusted that fart.
Man, thanks for taking this time to chat with me on the Missional conversation. And
thanks for having me on here. I'm looking forward to watching this, and also know, like Steve said, if you are interested in the river gathering, there are still spots available. Please get a hold of us. I have the link on whiskeypreacher.com. You're going to have it on Nightotopia.
Yep.
It's also, there's a Facebook group that you can check out and find out more information. It's going to be fun, and it's reasonably priced for something that it's so gorgeous, such a high-end place. We have tried to create something that is reasonable for, honestly, ministers and their partners to come and hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it, man.
You too, man. Thank you for having me on here.
All right.
Bye.